Welcome to another episode of Music Musings. I'm your host, Derek. With me is Pat. Pat, how we doing today?
I'm good. Good. It's beautiful. About to have a beautiful beach day today. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their summer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to run into the ocean. Full
Okay.
sprint.
That's a that's quite a commitment there. You got yeah, very beautiful day out, very exciting. Today we also have our first guest who is not a family friend or a friend that we know. So this is Brandon from the Greyscales. Brandon, thank you for being here today. Of
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
course.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited to kind of jump in and learn a little bit more about your band and the music scene here in Astoria, New York. Um, but before we jump into that, we always start with our new releases of the week and some of the music that we've been listening to for this week. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the new releases this week. Pat, I'm probably going to cut a few. I'm not going to talk about
Okay.
all of them today.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, but we have a couple that I'm going to pick. Neil Young came out with a new song today, or not today, this week, second song, um, which I've heard a little bit of it and sounded interesting because it sounds like Neil Young a little bit, but he's a veteran artist, and he made it's an 11-minute song, um, which how I feel about songs that are over like 8 minutes.
Yeah, after 5, it's kind of like you're going into some dark, waters there.
So I don't know. I have to listen to it again, but
Mm.
Neil Young, new song this week came out. Um, we'll see how that is. Carol G also came out with a new song this week, and I think a new album with Bruno Mars and Drake also collaborated with her. So we'll hear how that is. Of course, I haven't heard it yet because it just came out this week, so I have
Yeah.
to set some time for that.
Yeah. I will definitely give it a listen. I love Carol G. She does some great work. So I'm eager to listen to it.
We'll see. We'll see how it is. I don't know. And then finally, we have Citizen also came out with a new album this week. Haven't heard it, but we'll get a listen and I'll give my reviews later this week. But those are the new releases for this week. Let's get into what we've been listening to this week. Pat, you wanna
Sure.
start?
Yeah, so, past week on my way to commuting to work, Marvin Gaye has been in my it's been in my ears all week, mainly because me and Elise watch Remember the Titans and the Marvin Gaye Ain't No Mountain High. I'm not gonna try to do the song.
One of
I
the
don't
best
wanna
songs ever written, man.
Yeah.
exactly. See, you get it. You get it. So
Yeah,
I don't wanna
I love
ruin
Marvin Gaye.
it. Yes, yeah, you can never go wrong with him. Yeah, I just been listening to a lot of his previous work, his classics. Next, I've been listening to a little bit Missy Elliott. Just fantastic, songwriter, rapper, singer, performer, producer, just all around talent. Just love her work. Um, Listen to that. I don't know, be dancing a little bit. I can't help it. And last but not least is DeVito. Since Derek kind of last week told me that there was a new album, and I was just like, wow, I should be ashamed of somebody because I'm a big fan of him. And been listening to Timeless. The album came out in 2023, and then the new one. My favorite song off that new album so far is Zanzibar, but that's what I've been rocking with this whole week.
Nice.
How about you, Derek?
Nothing really different this week. I've actually been listening to Blink 182 for some reason. Just kind of in that mood. Blink 182,
Mm.
and then with that, Sum 41, and then from that, I went back to Linkin Park. So
Oof.
it's just been,
It's a good roundup. I like that.
alternative angsty punk a little bit, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Brandon, do you want to share anything you've been listening to this week?
I'm all over the map, man. I was listening to the whole London Calling album by The Clash,
Mm.
and then I was bouncing around and listening to some old Fats Waller
Mm.
songs from like the early jazz days and like the
Yeah.
30s and 40s.
Ah.
I'm all over the map, man.
Hey, yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing
That's
wrong with
great.
Let it roll and then see what I'm listening to.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Love that.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna get started, and I'm kind of excited to jump in to hear about your band and where you guys started. So let's just jump right in. How did you personally kind of get involved with music? Was there anything significant that happened, or was it just that you decided you just wanted to start playing music one day, wherever?
I mean, I always kinda had an affinity for it. I'm not trained in any real way, other than, like, 7th grade band, which I don't even think can count, right? So, like, um but no, I was always kinda had an ear for it and just started to pick things apart. I got an acoustic guitar when I was in high school and then just basically spent spare time messing around and trying to copy as many songs as I could, and then, my old trick was to try and play along with it and then to turn it off and see how close I was,
Mm,
and sometimes at that end up I wouldn't be close at all, but it would be something kinda cool, and I would build off of that, and then I started to be like, "Oh, maybe I can actually do some of this stuff on my own." So I wrote a lot of terrible, terrible, terrible songs for many years until I finally was like, "Oh, I kinda got an idea of what I'm doing now."
right,
Uh,
There was I don't remember, some comic a while back did something about, like, Edgar Allan Poe. Maybe it was Patton Oswalt was talking about Edgar Allan Poe and how, like, everybody holds him in such high esteem, and he's like, "Yeah, but Edgar Allan Poe wrote, like, 6,000 stories,"
right,
you know? And the ones that we know are, like, the one you're like, if you write
yeah.
enough, eventually you're gonna get some. So I've written
right.
hundreds of songs, and I think, a couple of them are good, you know?
Mm,
Yeah, and
So
I think that's kind of all it takes sometimes. Is just you got to get through all the stuff, and you kind of learn along the way, and eventually you get stuff that's good.
yeah.
yeah, you filter through the process and you're like, "This worked, this didn't work, and this chord progression works, and this one didn't." So,
Mhm,
it's a long journey, but most of the time it was just me doing it by myself. This band is actually the first band I've been in,
mhm.
and I
Wow.
just put it together and created it, so
So yeah, and how did the band form? Grayscales, like how did it go from? Because you said you started this band. This is the first band you were kind of part
yeah,
of, and
so I moved to New York. I came out to New York to do I'm originally from Colorado, and then I moved to San Francisco, and then, I came to New York to do essentially recording. I
Mhm,
went to NYU for their grad program, in recording technology, which was not what I wanted. I was expected to, like, spend time in studios and learn how studios worked, and it was more about learning how to use computer algorithms to create various plugins, and I'm like, "No, this is not
mm,
this is not." So I went to another school that's now kinda closed, it's called the Institute of Audio Research, and it was down near Union Square,
mhm,
and I
mhm,
learned about all the different processes of, like, how to record things properly, different mic techniques, and, worked with people who've done, some of my professors did albums with, like, Paul Simon, and
mm,
so I
wow,
these guys were, like, legit, actual industry people. Um, so from that, I decided to do more of my own recordings because 'cause I've done 4, 5 albums of my own material, and then the band, we've done 1, and we're working on our 2nd, so I've had a lot of material, and each time I'm like, "Oh, now I kinda know what I'm doing,"
right, right,
but it got hard. I was doing the open mic scene. I moved to New York in 2010, and I was just bouncing around doing the open mic scene, and I was like, "I have these ideas for these songs, I just need more people," and
mhm.
after doing that for a couple of years, I reached out through Craigslist. There's still a
mhm,
use for
yeah,
Craigslist, and that's it.
Hey.
And, I found a couple guys that were interested. We met those guys knew other guys, and
mhm.
eventually I put together a band, and we started to go out and write some stuff and do some shows. So, now I'm doing it ever since.
It's cool. And because you said you went all around New York, played around the city.
Yeah.
Um, Now, how did you guys come up with the name like the Grayscales? Where'd that come from?
Well, we needed to obviously we had once we got the band together, we're like, we need a band, or a band name, and everything kind of fell on me because I was the guy who created the band. So like,
Mm.
you guys want to call us? And I'm like, that wouldn't. Yeah. So I was thinking I had in the original lineup of the band, I had my lead guitarist and my bassist were from Algeria. My drummer was from India, and I'm from Colorado, and I'm like, all right, so we're not we're not like all white, we're not all black, we're kind of all mixed in the middle, and it's like Grayscales, like, okay, we're kind of like we're kind of there's a variation
Yeah.
in stuff. Plus, the type of music that I want to do, I always want it to be changing. I don't want it to be static. So I was like, no, we're not going to be stuck in one genre or another. There's kind of like a scale plus the
Mm,
musical scale stuff. I'm like, yeah, it kind of fits, you know.
yeah.
So that's really where it comes from.
That's cool. That's interesting. Yeah. I didn't, I was
So
trying to
kinda
like
like we have a
guess.
flexibility in
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
genre and players and stuff like that, so that's kinda where we landed.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was actually listening to that. I was listening to your Life Lessons album, and by the way, great work. Uh, I love Wolf. Is it Papers? Hey Charlotte. There's some hits on there, man. Like
Thanks, man,
just great.
appreciate it.
Everybody did a great job. But I was also listening to like there's elements of like different genres as you mentioned, like soul, blues, funk, pop, indie, and I'm like, first of all, that's like all the genres I love, so I can so that works perfectly for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But when you write, do you like when you write a song? I just want to talk about like like when you create music. Is there a specific like idea like oh today I'm gonna make a soul type song or I'm gonna write a funk or a indie type of sound? Is that like an interesting? How
I
does that
mean,
work?
I don't I'm influenced by all sorts of different genres, right?
Mhm,
So, like, I hate getting kinda pigeonholed into one thing.
Mhm.
So
mhm,
when I write something, like, for the band these days, I'll come in with the rough idea, like,
mhm,
rough idea of the song, you know, and then I'll be like, "Alright, what do you guys wanna do with it? How do you wanna take it?"
mhm,
And there's a song, I think, off of that album called Happy Home, which I had originally written kind of as like a country ballad.
mm.
We ended up making it more like a reggae sort of feel.
Yeah,
Time was
I was
done, and I was
sensing
like,
that. I was
this
sensing
is
the
not what I
riffs.
intended for the song, but you know what? It works, and it sounds better than what I had originally came up with. So I kind of have a rough idea about just the melody and the structure of the song, and I bring it to the band, and then they take it and do whatever they want, you know,
Mhm,
with it, and then by the end, we'll come up with something good because I always try and play with the greatest players I can.
mm,
Mhm.
I trust their instincts, and they'll be like, "Okay, let's do this, let's change, let's make this bridge a bit harder," and I'll be like, "Okay,
mm,
we're doing, like, a hard rocky metal song. Cool.
mhm.
Now we'll just roll with that." So,
Right. I
um,
respect that.
yeah, I don't unless it's something where I really feel strongly about the structure of the song,
Mm,
I'll try and let my ego go and let the guys do what they want with it, and I think that
Mhm.
gives us a variety of different types of work that we do.
yeah, 100%. I could tell.
No, that's cool. So it's you kind of come up with these ideas to start with, and you bring it to the band, and they take it with that.
Yeah, I mean, I got lots of different material that I've written there. There's either whole songs that I've written or just partial stuff where I've got like this is a cool progression, or
Mhm,
I've got I'm always taking notes, like, on my phone of stuff that could potentially be lyrics, and then I
mm,
Mhm.
just store it in my computer at home, and
mm,
we'll rehearse and we'll jam on something, and I'll take it and I'll just listen to it on repeat and kinda go through my lyrics list of stuff and be like, "That kinda works. No, that kinda doesn't work," and then I'll modify it and bring it back to the band and
Mhm.
piecemeal it back and forth until we get it done, but,
mm,
trying to come up with it on the spot without, uh any preparation is really hard.
mhm,
You're playing with the zeitgeist there, and that's not
mhm.
always I've sat down and been like, "I'm gonna write a song in this hour," and every time I try to do that, it fails. It's the
Yeah.
Oh,
worst song I've ever written. So, like,
I completely agree.
w when inspiration strikes, you gotta find a way to grab it. So,
Mm, mhm,
when things happen, I'm on the train, I'm going into the city, whatever it is, I'll have a cool idea for a lyric, I'll write it down and kinda store it for later, and then if it happens to work, it works, you know?
How do you because this is something like at least the band I used to be in similar. We'd all have like ideas about a certain song, and we'd try to like force it to work. But it ended up being either one person kind of just made the decision of like, nah, we're gonna go this way, and like that's just what it's gonna have to be because
Yeah.
it's taking too long. So I don't. Do you have like a similar way about it of, because you have all these different styles that your music kind of sounds like. So how do you get to the point where it's just like, all right, we're taking all these ideas, how, like, we're going to just go with this one thought eventually? Like, is there a point where you're just like, all right, let's go this way?
Yeah, I think, like, eventually you have to make a decision, right? And, I didn't intend to be the default decision maker in the band, and I'm very often like, "All right, guys, what do you wanna do?
Yeah.
What's your idea on this?" And I'm always conferring with the band. I don't want it to be, me dictating to
Mhm.
everybody what to play, because then that's not fun for anybody.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I'm always asking them as we rehearse. I'm like, "Okay, drummer, do you think we need a fill here? Like, how do you
Hmm.
want to transition from this part to this part? What are your thoughts on this? Bass player, do you want like a solo during this end part? What are you guys thinking to do?" And then once they have all those pieces together, I'll kind of take it home and run through it and be like, "All right, so here I think is the final structure." And we go through it together and be like, "Do we all agree on this? Cool."
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's really the nice part of all the variations of this band that I put together is we are in it for the song. We want the
Mhm.
song to be good, right? So
Mhm.
that helps a lot in terms of I'm not personally attacking you. We wanna make the best song we can.
Mhm.
Need to add more space for a guitar solo? We do it. If we need to cut something, we do it. I'm perfectly fine cutting any of my stuff out. I'm always asking
Right.
them, "And you
Mhm.
wanna sing?" Like,
Right.
Yeah.
more than happy to give up a little bit. I'm happy to give up singing if you guys wanna take the reins on this song, but, it's you gotta be able to respect the people you're playing with and to trust them, and I think
Mhm.
that when the goal is to write the best music you can, then things start to fall in place, you know?
100%. 100%.
Definitely. Um, so that kind of goes into, I guess, this next question I had, which is because, recording in the studio or just recording in general is always a bit of a beast in its own way. And it's a very different experience than playing live. Um, so I was just wondering, do you guys have a different process for playing when you're, or not playing, but I guess writing for when you're recording versus when you do a show live? Like, is there differences there?
Yeah, I tell my guys, the recording is gonna be the recording,
Mhm.
and I might go a little over the top with bells and whistles and effects and things like that.
Mhm.
I consider the recording and our live version of the song as like 2 different beasts.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
that kinda, squashes that whole situation there. Like, when we play live, it's the same song, it's gonna have the same feel, but it might not be exactly on par with the recording.
Mhm.
And if we treat it like that, then we know, like, live, we do what we do. We'll go
Mhm.
in there, we'll play the song, we might make it longer or shorter or change the arrangement of it, but the recording is its own thing,
Mhm.
you know? And so then I don't have to be like, "Oh, we didn't hit that one part exactly right, and we didn't come in exactly like the recording does." Because honestly, if people out there to come see us live, they wanna
Hmm.
experience us live, and that's what we do.
Mhm.
So um, I don't think about them as being the same thing. It's too complicated, and it's not worth it. Like, it's more fun for people to be like, "Oh, I wanna come out and see these guys do their show because last time they did this song, but they did it slightly differently." And
Ri
it makes it interesting every time for people wanna come out and see it because 'cause they'll be like, "Oh, I know that song, but they did it in a very interesting way this time."
Yeah,
Hmm.
and because of that, they have, like, a unique memory, like, "Oh, they did the bridge a bit longer," or, "They did a variation, and I was there for it," and
Yeah.
that's not recorded, so now that's, like, a certain memory that's, like, to that moment of that performance, so, yeah, I you know what? I definitely agree with what you're saying, but the fans, you're right, they're there for the emotional connection to that, so if you can give them something that's a little bit different from the recording, they'll treasure that a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's gonna make people wanna come out and see it, right? Because 'Cause they'll be like, "Oh, these guys," it's not like every time you see them, it's gonna be exactly the same.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I hated recording. Like, that was my least favorite thing because it was always just, I'm a drummer. And
Oh,
like,
okay.
Mhm.
it's, there's a lot of stress with that. I think it's a lot of stress for every band member in their own way. But I just remember the energy for when you're recording is completely different than when you're playing live. Like, live, it's just a lot more fun. And I think you get to do things that you wouldn't do when you're recording. Just
And you
you're a
gotta
little
do it
offbeat.
over
It's
and
whatever.
over and over again, and it's gotta be almost exactly the same, and that's a lot. Like, I love recording, but I'm a guitarist and I'm the songwriter that puts all the stuff together, so, but I get it, you know?
Yeah. uh, so kind of jumping from that, you've been playing in the New York scene for a while. So just wanted to kind of, because the New York scene, at least from what we remember, is it's a very interesting music scene. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things happening at all points. So I guess we'll kind of just start off um, is there any aspect or is there any venue that you guys have played that you really enjoy playing at in the New York City music scene? And um, what's your take on like the New York music scene right now and how that's been kind of evolving over time?
Um, we played in various parts. We played, I think, in almost all the boroughs. We haven't played the Bronx, and we haven't played Staten Island.
Mm.
But, we played Queens, we played Brooklyn, we played Manhattan.
Mm.
And there's some really fun venues. I mean, Arlene's Grocery is a great place. They got great sound. For me, it's like I love playing live, but I really love playing live in a place that has good sound where I can hear all of my bandmates.
Yes.
Mhm.
'Cause there's been so many times we've gone out to a show and, like, I can't hear the bassist or the guitarist can't hear me,
Hmm.
and then it's like I'm trying to correct as I'm playing so I can hear what everybody else is doing, and it just takes it takes everybody out of the gig because 'cause you're just trying to not screw things up. But, so places that have really good sound, we played, Bowery Electric,
Hmm.
rest in peace.
Hmm.
That was another fun one.
Mm.
Um, and, like, those are the fun ones in Manhattan, in, Astoria, we played the Bohemian Beer Garden, which is nice because it's big, it's outdoors, and it's
Hmm.
all ages. And we got a show there next week. So there's lots of venues. The problem I think right now, and maybe this is like a post-COVID situation, is it was really hard after COVID to get people to come out to
Hmm.
see live music. Um, I think those years where everybody was put inside kind of, I don't wanna say
Mhm.
dulled our senses, but just kinda made it easier to stay home.
Mhm.
It's starting to change a little bit now. I'm starting to see some people get out a bit more. But a lot of the venues that I had to do the legwork to go, like, meet and talk to the people and do the booking and all this, a lot of those places closed during COVID because they couldn't work, and then you spend all of that time meeting with, this booking person or this per and building these relationships, and now those are gone, so you had to start over from scratch, and that's been the hard thing for me to try and do is to go find the new venues that have opened up or the other places that are closing. Uh, so I don't think there's as many places as there used to be, which is unfortunate, but um, that's just the economics of it, I guess.
Mhm.
And there are probably a lot more that I don't know of, but it's definitely changed. I'd love for there to be more opportunities for local bands to be able to get in and
Hmm.
play on a regular basis, and I think that there's a lot going into that. I mean, there's the whole money aspect of it where they're like, "Yeah, you gotta come out and play, but you gotta bring 30 of your friends on a Tuesday night, 30," and
Yeah.
what? 30 on. Seriously, I've been to these shows, I've played
Hmm.
these shows, I've never seen a band come in
Mhm.
with the 30 people minimum
No.
guaranteed on, like, Wednesday at 2 a.m. So, come on,
Right.
guys, like, seriously, it's gotta be a balance between the band and the venue to, like, help work together to make this thing viable.
Yeah, and it's that pay to play thing is such a. I remember that it's a pain. It's just a pain because it's no one. Yeah, you're right. No one does that. No one gets the 50 people or 30 people to come out. Like they pay out of your own pocket and cover the tickets usually,
Yeah.
and it's you might have 10 people show up or something. Um, and it is a shame. I remember COVID too. Is like a lot of the places that I used to go to or like go see music like closed down. Um, and I think a lot of it, to your point, is a lot of people just got addicted to their phones, and they would just like stare at music online or on their phones, and like just didn't have the motivation to just go out. And I think it's an unfortunate thing too. The venues had to start charging more money because no one was coming. So then no one was going to come anyway because the ticket prices would be ridiculous to see anything. Um, so it was just like a very terrible, vicious kind of cycle. And I think it's still recovering to this point to this day.
Yeah, like I said, from my experience recently is it's getting better, but it's still not great, and we just need to get people to come out to see shows, and it's tricky when it's easier to just go home and sit in front of your TV.
Yeah. So I mean, it's playing in the city, and you've been playing for a while, and is there any kind of, I don't know if this is the right question to ask, but like, do you think that New York City has its own kind of musical identity or music? I don't know, like
Sound?
sound. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if New York City has its own sound because there's so many people from all over the world here that, like,
Mm,
there are very successful, like, country bars, and then
Hmm.
there's successful punk bars, and then, like, there's a pretty solid metal scene. Uh,
Hmm.
so it kinda depends. It's more like venue specific.
Mm.
mm,
This venue has this type of bands that come through, and they're
right.
pretty solid, and this other venue has different types of bands that come through. So I don't know if there's, like, one particular scene in New York, um, but yeah, I mean, and that's kinda what you expect for New York City, right? It's
Mm,
what it should be. It should be there's everything. You just
yeah,
be able to find the right spots for it. It's not like Nashville where you're like, "Okay, if I wanna see country music, I'm gonna go to Nashville, and there's gonna be country music on every other street," right? So, um
And do you think that's like a advantage of kind of playing in the city is there's all these different types of genres and different styles of music playing everywhere.
Yeah, I think it is, and for me, just even putting together a band, like, this is I always tell people when they're starting up bands, like, it's easy to find people to play it with. It's really hard to keep.
mm,
Like, to keep them for a long term, like, have them be invested in the music and, like, wanna rehearse and, like, put together shows and go through
the
all of
process.
the whole process of, like, "Yeah, we're not getting paid, but, here's your 2
Mm,
drink tickets," and, like,
Right.
until we get stuff going, you
Right.
yeah.
know? So, like, I've gone through every member of my band at least twice. Like, I'm on, like, I
Mm,
think my 4th drummer, my 3rd lead guitarist, like, my 2nd bassist, and
mm,
every time you lose somebody, you have to, like, go and find somebody new, and the whole process takes a while, but the advantage of being in New York is you've got so many good, talented people from all over
Hmm.
mm,
the world, like, my current drummer is from Korea, my, um my guitarist and my bassist are, like, Puerto Ricans, and, like,
mm,
you get different influences, you get different styles, you get different takes on the songs.
Hmm.
mm,
And that's the fun thing for me is I'm like, "Oh, cool. That's an
mm.
interesting polyrhythm I wouldn't have thought of doing. Let's do it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you're in just, like, one place where everybody is kinda all the same and all the same influences, you're just gonna get the same stuff.
Right.
Mm, mm. Great.
That's cool. That's cool. But so you kind of have like your band. You have all these different kind of styles, and you kind of hear their takes on songs that you've already written.
Yeah.
And I get that really adds a lot. I would guess to what you already have.
It does. I mean, and it's interesting when we get, like, a new guy coming in, and people leave for various reasons, they move away or whatever the situation is, and you get the new guy in and you're like, "Here's our set list, here's our songs," and they take it in a very different direction than what you planned, and it's like, "Wow, we've been playing this song for, like, 2 years now." Like, it sounds fresh again because
Right.
Yeah.
got somebody
Yeah.
else coming in here doing some cool stuff with it, so, you know, that's that's the nice thing. I mean, it's hard because everybody's always trying to look at the grass is always greener and other
Mhm.
opportunities, but when you get something that works well, you can make some really killer songs.
That's awesome. Um, so before we get going, we do want to play a little game with you. Um, so it's a pretty simple game. It's just called pick one, lose one. So you just have to pick one. I'm going to give you two options, and me and Pat will take turns asking you different questions.
Sure.
Um, you just pick one, and why you would lose the other one.
Okay.
So it's going to start pretty easy, and then we're going to
Yeah.
get to some harder ones. So
Yeah. No offense, Brandon. I have I looked at this and I was like, I don't even know if I can do it.
All right. Well, I'm game. Let's go.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I was like, this is a tough one, so good luck.
I'll start, Pat, and we'll just alternate.
Okay.
All right. So this one just, I think these first two kind of deal with just genres of music. So pick one, lose one. Rock or soul? Which one would you pick?
Man, you guys coming right out of the
Yeah.
gate.
I told you, Brad. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know, I think I'm gonna pick soul
Hmm.
and lose rock, and I think
Wow.
the
Whoa.
reason why is
Okay.
because, um, soul's a lot harder. Like rock, it's easier to hide stuff.
Hmm.
Soul's a lot harder to hide things. Like you get that rawness if you get something like Marvin Gaye, like you were talking about
Mm,
before,
mm.
right? You can't fake that shit. You know,
Hmm.
you can try, but it's not like you can fake some rock stuff,
Right.
you
Right.
know? So I think that it's more raw, maybe more real,
Hmm.
more
Yeah.
towards like the human condition type stuff. So that's why I picked that. And I love them both, dearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You danced that really well. I'm
Yeah,
really impressed by that.
yeah, that's what I would choose.
All
All right.
right. I'll take
Pat,
the
go ahead.
All right, we got another genre one. Blues or funk?
Uh, I would pick funk and lose blues.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think the reason why would that would be because there's so much blues integrated into funk.
Mm,
You've already kinda got it in there, plus, all sorts of stuff, and it's more lively and brings you up, and,
mm,
I love both of them, but
mm.
that's kinda like, you kinda cheat a little bit by getting funk in there, so you can get some blues in there as well.
Yeah, there we go. You're right.
I'm trying to find, little ways to break out of your guys' game.
Hey, I respect you. You're doing really well, though.
Okay, this one we're moving away from the genres. This is more like format for listening. So vinyl or streaming?
Oh, if I had to choose, absolutely vinyl. Because what
Yes.
I care more about is um, the quality of the stuff and being able to listen to it the way the artist intended it to do.
Mhm,
With streaming, it's gonna the algorithm's gonna compress it. It's gonna get
mhm,
the
mhm.
quality's not gonna be great, and it's more about volume with streaming than it is about quality, I think.
Yeah,
Agreed, agreed.
absolutely.
Alright, alright. Next one. Studio recording or live performance?
Oh, I mean, they're so different. They're 2 different things completely.
Mm,
For me, if I am yeah, I don't know, like, I would pick gosh, this is the hardest one. Um, I would pick live performance over
mm.
studio,
Okay.
just because that's, like, the way you can engage with the audience more, like, and
Mm,
there's a bit more of a rawness to it, you know? I love studio recording, and I basically do all of the recording of both my own solo stuff and the work for the band, but it gets long and tedious, and you can lose some of the magic just by, like, listening to editing all of the drums and every single
mhm,
tom hit and every
mm,
guitar
mm.
hit, and after a while, you're just like, "What am I doing?" But when you're live, you just gotta do it.
Yeah, I respect that.
All right, we got like we'll do three more maybe.
Okay.
I think these are pretty hard. So, guitar solo or horn section?
Mm. Um, I would say keep the guitar solo and lose the horn section, and that's really tricky just because from my personal experience, like, I don't I don't have horns, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's easy for me to be like, "Oh, let's do guitar solo." But there's a place for both, right? It depends on what the song needs, you know?
Mhm.
Mm,
But yeah, that's kinda where I fall just from experience.
That's fair. That's fair.
I respect
I'd
that.
love to get horn players to jump in, but, that's it's
Yeah.
like when you have a band with
Mhm.
more than, like, 2 people, then it
Mhm.
becomes like it's like dating 5 people at the same time and
Yeah.
dealing with all the different personalities
Yeah.
of everybody's
Yeah.
schedule, and then you start adding in horn players, and you're like, "Oh, man, how am I gonna get all these 8 people to practice at the same time?"
Right.
It's too much, keeping it simple.
Respect it. All right. Want me to do the next one? All right. So if you if you had one band member to set gets to pick the set list, who do you trust?
Who do I trust? Um,
Mm.
Tricky. Are the band members gonna listen to this?
They
So,
Oh
could.
no,
then
I'm
we're gonna have
sorry.
some issues. I
Oh
would you know
man.
what? I would give it to my bass player because he's been with me the longest, and he's been through, like, he's seen the way our
Mm,
things go, and he could be like, "Alright, this song really works well. This song works well at the beginning. This is a good
Mm,
closer," you know? So, like, somebody who's been with the whole band for a long time knows what to do, and he's wrote most of the songs with me too, so it's like, okay, I would give
yeah.
it to him. And,
Respect.
whenever we do set lists, I'm always running it through the guys to be like, "Here's what we're gonna do for set 1. Do you guys agree?
Mm,
Switch anything around?" You know? Be like,
yeah.
"This is a better song to end with." "Okay, cool."
Yeah. I like that.
okay,
Yeah.
that's good. It's very diplomatic. I like that.
Tip. Yeah.
Um, what about if one band member gets to choose the opening act? Um, who do you think would have the best taste, or who'd pick I- if they were given that opportunity? Which
Um, I would be interested, you know what? Instead of, like, who would pick the best, I would be interested to see who would be the opening act. I'd be interested to see who my lead guitarist would pick for to be the opening act, because I
okay,
bet
Mm,
he'd pick somebody that would be good, and it would
hmm,
be different than what I would maybe expect.
okay, I like that.
mhm.
Um, well, we want to thank you for coming on today. But before we kind of end and wrap up here, what is next for the Grayscales? Is there anything you're working on right now? Any albums or new songs, or anything you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, it's the tricky thing for me, and since it's all in recording right now, it's kinda like the Wild West. Everybody's doing their own thing, and there's no one way to do it, and we're working on a 2nd album, but I'm releasing the songs essentially as they're complete, because
Mhm.
you release most of the time, if you release an album these days, it's like, "Oh, okay, I released the album, people are gonna listen to the first 2 songs, and then if they're
Yeah.
just gonna
You're
skip
right.
over it," and we spent all this time and effort and love to do these songs, so I wanna ever give each song, like, its own platform, give it a chance.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm releasing stuff as I finish them up. We just finished our last single called "You're the Believer." That came out in beginning of June, I think, or beginning of July. We're gonna have our next single is called "Boom Boom Boom," and it's gonna be out hopefully by the end of August or at least early September. We got a 3-hour show at the Bohemian Beer Hall in Astoria, next Saturday, August 15th. So if you're around, come check it
Yeah,
out. It's usually
definitely.
a pretty solid show. I gotta remember all my lyrics, so that's my element. But yeah, and we're gonna have more stuff booked in once we get into the fall. So uh you could follow all of our stuff usually on Instagrams where I post like when we're playing and where we're playing, and that's like Gray Scales Band, Gray with an E, Scales plural. Um, And yeah, if you follow that, then I'll have all the postings of when we're playing in and around the city.
Awesome.
Please, yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
yeah, definitely.
It was awesome.
And we'll probably be there in Bohemian checking out.
Yeah, you have to come around, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can see all the little kids getting down in the front because it's an all ages show, and there's just like a bunch. We've played this place a bunch of times, and in the past, the parents are just like, "Oh, great, here's the place for my kids to go run."
Right.
It's just like standing and staring at me and trying to like crawl on stage and song, playing the song, engaging with the audience, and being like, "Don't touch the amp. Come on stage," you know. So it's
Yeah.
fun. It's a fun time. It's a good venue.
No, I love the Bohemian. It's a great place.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on, and for everyone else, we'll catch you next time. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you have an idea for an intro or an outro that we could play on our show, please send to musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please email us at musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.